Hello learner, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will learn how to prepare journal for the P&L appropriation case, that is the fundamentals case. First of all, let's understand P&L appropriation that already been discussed in the earlier videos also. In the P&L appropriation account, first of all, profit is transferred from the P&L account, right? When the profit is transferred from the P&L account, the profit goes on the credit side of P&L appropriation account with the word by profit and loss account. So what journal from here developed for the first case is P&L account debit to P&L appropriation account. So the first journal here for the profit transferred from profit and loss account to profit and loss appropriation account. Here P&L appropriation account is getting a profit, so it's credit, and that profit is coming from which account? P&L account, so that's debited here. Okay, now you know very well that if in the question it is provided that partners are entitled to any of the salary, interest on capital, they are debited to the P&L appropriation account. If the partners are charged for any of the interest on drawings, that would appear on the credit of P&L appropriation account. Why? Because this is a income to the business, that's why these are credited. Expenses to the business are debited, incomes to the business are credited in this account because it's a nominal account. So if there is any sum transferred to journal reserve, that is also an appropriation will appear here. The leftover profit will be transferred to the partners among their profit sharing ratio. This you know that how to prepare P&L appropriation account, that I have discussed earlier also. Now to coming along the journal. So first of all, we have transferred the profit. The next journal is about IOC, salary, IOD. So let's talk about firstly IOC. For the IOC, the business is supposed to pay IOC to A and B, who are the partners. So what journal we will make? Firstly, interest on capital account debit to A's capital to B's capital. This is for the transfer of the interest on capital that IOC has become due, which is payable by the business firm to the partners. If it is fluctuating method, we will transfer it to the capital. If it is fixed method, if it is fixed capital method, then it would be transferred to the current account, right? Same way, salary would also be debited and would be transferred to the partner's capital account, and if it is fixed, then the current account, and the word written is salary due. Now, if there are interest on drawings, this entry will become opposite because interest on drawing is income. Expenses are debited, right? Expenses have been debited here and incomes are credited. So interest on drawing is income to the business, IOD is credited to whom, from whom these were receivable, that is A and B, so the partners have been debited, being IOD is due here, right? Now after this we will transfer these have been made due and due here. Now these would be charged to which account? That is P&L appropriation account. Salary and interest on capital are expenses, so these would be charged, and IOD is income, so that would be a claim, right? So IOD account debit to P&L appropriation account. How this is passed, you know very well. See from here, IOD account debit to P&L appropriation. I suppose you know how to transfer from your account for the journal, right? So when we say that something is in there, it's expense, P&L appropriation to IOC, P&L appropriation to salary to journal reserve, right? But for this we will write IOD account debit to P&L appropriation. So the journal becomes IOD account debit to P&L appropriation, and next is P&L appropriation account debit to all of these expenses. Ultimately, what has been debited here need to be crossed. What has been debited? IOC and salary. Now these accounts are supposed to be closed, so for closing these accounts, these are transferred to P&L appropriation account. And journal reserve, there was also fund transfer, so that was also charged to P&L appropriation. Whether Another side, interest on drawing was income, so that have been debited, transferred to the P&L appropriation account. Now the leftover profit would be here. If there is a profit, P&L appropriation account debit to profit transfer to A to capital is written over here, so we will pass the last journal entry for this. P&L appropriation account debit to A's capital account to B's capital account for profit being transferred in their profit sharing ratio. If no partnership deed is there, then profit sharing ratio would be equal, right? So in the last, let's have a quick view how we have to pass the journal. First of all, P&L account debit to P&L appropriation for profit transfer, then IOC to capital accounts, salary to capital accounts to interest on drawings. Then interest on drawing would be claimed from P&L appropriation, and P&L appropriation account debit to all the expenses which we have to transfer here. And if there is a journal reserve, that would also be considered. And lastly, leftover profit would be transferred to the partner's capital account. Okay, so that's for the day. Thank you, Accountitude. Keep scoring. If there is some problem, you can get me in the comment box. Thank you, Accountitude.